أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح الخاتم الناصر الهادي وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. Alhamdulillah, yesterday we spoke a little bit about Surah Al Imran. As you know, Quran is interconnected. All the surah, there is what we call al-munasaba. The surah are interconnected. We finished Surah Al Imran, which is the second longest surah. And we, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala, will be talking about Surah An-Nissa today. Surah Al Imran, many of the fawaid that are mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ about this surah and some of the ayat of this surah. Among the ayat of the Surah Al Imran that the Prophet ﷺ has brought to our awareness, the benefits of those ayat. One of them is, some of those are the last ayat of Surah Al Imran, when Allah Ta'ala says, "Inna fi khalqis samawati wal ardi wa ikhtilafil layli wan nahari la ayatin li ulil albab." Here Allah is inviting us to ponder upon the creatures, the creation of Allah Ta'ala, not upon Him Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, because Allah Himself is beyond our imagination. For kullu ma تصورته أو كل ما جاء في عقلك أو كل ما ورد في عقلك بالله خلاف ذلك سبحانه وتعالى. Whatever you can have in your mind, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is far away from that. He's far different from that subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He says لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. There is nothing like unto Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in a hadith, تَفَكَّرُوا بِفِي الْخَلْقِ ولا تفكروا بالخالق فإنكم لا تقدرون الله أو لا تقدرون الله قدره. Why? Because we do not have the how I don't know how to call it. What is uti again? Tools, mashallah, barakallah. We don't have enough tools, or we don't have even tools at all to be imagining Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why for us to know Allah wa ta'ala, we know Him through His creation. He is athar, luqiya al-mu'athiri, or luqiya al-mu'athiri bitarki al-athari. But we go through the athar so that we can meet the mu'athir subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tafakkaru bil khalqi wa la tufakkiru bi al-khaliq subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this very last ayat, the Prophet Allah wa ta'ala mentions Rabbana 5 times. And the ulama say, whenever you call Allah 5 times with Rabbana, 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 without any doubt, your dua is going to be accepted. Because Allah, at the end of this Rabbana, He said, فَاسْتَجَابَ لَهُمْ رَبُّهُمْ. That Allah wa ta'ala, their Lord, answered or accepted their dua. Sayyidatuna Aisha once was asked, what is the most amazing thing she saw from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? She right away started crying. Alayha ridwanullahi tabaraka wa ta'ala. She then said that kana amruhu ajaba. The affair of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was just amazing, alayhi salatu wasalam. And she said he came to me one night, hatta massa jildi jildahu, and then the Prophet ﷺ said, please leave me do some act of worship. Dharini ata'abbadu Rabbi Azza wa Jalla. Let me worship my Rabb subhanahu wa ta'ala. Aisha said, Wallahi, I want to be close to you, but I also want to follow, to obey your desire. And the desire of the Prophet ﷺ is the Mashiach, or the Qadr, or the Wahy, or the order of Allah wa ta'ala. Because Allah says, وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. Then Aisha said that the Prophet ﷺ went to make wudu, فَتَوَضَّأَ وَلَمْ يُكْثِرْ صَبْيَ الْمَاءِ ثُمَّ قَامَ يُصَلِّي فَبَكَىٰ حَتَّىٰ بَلَّ لِحْيَتَهُ. The Prophet ﷺ went to make wudu, and then he started praying and then cried until his beard was so wet. And then ثُمَّ سَجَدَ. Then he prostrated. فبكى, then cried حتى بل الأرض, until the Prophet ﷺ made the earth wet because of the tears that were coming from the own eyes of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then ثم اتجع فبكى على جنبه. Then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam lay down and continued to cry. And when Bilal, Sayyidat Aisha is the one telling us this account, when Bilal arrived to wake him up for Fajr, he found the Prophet ﷺ crying alayhi salatu wasalam. And Sayyidina Bilal asked, O Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sahbihi wa sallam, ma yukika wa qad ghafara Allahu laka ma taqaddama min dhanbika wa ma ta'akhkhara. O Sayyidina Rasulullah, why are you crying? While Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala has forgiven you your previous and your latter sins. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَيْحَكَ يَا بِلَالْ, why not? Why don't I cry? مَا يَمْنَعُنِي مِنَ الْبُكَاءِ مَا يَمْنَعُنِي أَنْ أَبْكِي. Why don't I cry? When Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala revealed to me this very night, these very verses, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. These are the very last verses of Surah Al-Imran. And if any one of us has chance, let us go back and revisit these very ayat. Very beautiful ayat, but very attracting ayat, but ayat that are inviting us to ponder upon the creation of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, the power of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Then Allah is inviting us at the end of this very Surah Al-Imran to fear Him Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And that is the very beginning of Surah An-Nissa. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu isbiru wa sabiru wa rabitu wattaqullah la'allakum tuflihun is the ending ayah of Surah Al-Imran. Then comes Ya ayyuhan nasu ittaqu rabbakum. So you can see that Quran has to do only with consciousness with Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. We want to be conscious of Allah, of the presence of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala wherever we may be. ما يكون من نجوى ثلاثة إلا هو رابعهم ولا خمسة إلا هو سادسهم ولا أدنى من ذلك ولا أكثر إلا هو معهم أينما كان ثم ينبئهم بما عملوا يوم القيامة إن الله بكل شيء عليم. Surah An-Nissa was revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam after Surah Al-Muttahidah, and it is 175 ayat. In some masahifs 176 ayat. It is an ayat. It is a surah which is also full with ahkam al-shar'iyya, rulings, especially the family rulings. The surah is Madani, and all Madani surahs have to do with setting the laws on which the Muslims and the non-Muslims who lived with the Muslims should obey. But there were some exceptions for the non-Muslims. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Walil Yahudi dinuhum," that the Yahud have their deen. That means things that they have to follow their deen. We don't have to oblige them to follow us. That's why freedom of religion is something very fundamental in Islam. And what makes us know that is the Sahifa, the very constitution that was written the very first days when the Prophet ﷺ arrived at Medina. So the surah was named after An-Nissa, after women. There is no surah to Rijal, as of I know. You know, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala honored here our sisters. And that's why you will find many of the ahkam of this surah have to do with women, the rights of women, the rights of the orphans, and especially the female orphans, how to do with them, and the rights of all men and women when it comes to miras, which is inheritance. And you see, everything in the Quran, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala let the Prophet ﷺ make it, explain it to us, except mira. Ayat al-miras are explained one by Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala himself, from A to Z. He didn't even give room to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to explain to us. Yet Prophet ﷺ said that the science of Miras is the first science that will be lost among the Ummah. We're going to be neglecting Miras. Now what we're doing is not Miras, it's just dividing the wealth according to our desires. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ تَبَارَكَ وَتَعَالَى. And the ayah also will talk about the women we can marry and women we cannot marry. We cannot marry. حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمْ أُمَّهَاتُكُمْ وَبَنَاتُكُمْ وَأَخَوَاتُكُمْ وَعَمَّاتُكُمْ. The list is there, and I think we recited it yesterday in our Tarawih. The list of women that a man cannot marry are also discussed in this ayah. The ayah also talk about how to organize our relationships, how to make our marriage relationships beautiful and continual according to the teachings of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala and His Messenger. And He teaches us in this surah that our relationships are not corporal. ليست علاقة جسدية إنما هي علاقة إنسانية. They're not corporal relationship but human relationship. And that the mahr that the dowry that we give to the woman is not a price. It is a gift that we give to symbolize our relationship. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala also discusses the rights of a husband and the rights of the wife, and the right of the right of the family itself. So you have rights over your wife, but your wife also has rights over you, and they are all discussed in this ayah. And the very qawam that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said in this ayah does not mean that the women are our servants. We just let them or make them do whatever we want, but الرجال قوامون على النساء, it means really we are responsible for taking care of them according to the teachings of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala and the Messenger. The Prophet ﷺ says, خيركم خيركم لأهلي, the best of you are the best to their families, and I am the best to my family. عليه الصلاة وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. And then the surah goes from دائرة الأسرة إلى دائرة المجتمع, from the family matters to the society matters. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala asked us to be to apply ihsan in everything. إن الله يحب الإحسان في كل شيء. After Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah said, وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. You should speak good to people. And Allah here is telling us in Surah An-Nissa also that we deal with people in ihsan manner, and tanasuh wa tasamuh, meaning to, as Sayyidina Ali said, al-mu'minuna nasaha wal munafiquna ghashasha, that believers are those who advise one another, but the munafiqun, the hypocrites, are those who cheat one another. We speak good in your face, but when you go, we may speak something that is evil on your back. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala also teaches amana and adl in this ayah. Inna Allah ya'murukum an tu'tu al-amanati illa ahliha. Trust and justice. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that إِذَا فُقِدَتِ الْأَمَانَةُ فَانْتَظِرِ السَّاعَةَ. When trust is lost, then wait for the hour. So the surah is teaching us about amana. And the surah also talks about our internal relationships and how we should be also aware of what is around us. How we should be prepared for our how we should be dealing with our external enemies. We would call it today the internal and external security. Al-isti'dad lil-amni al-dakhili wal-khariji. The surah also discusses that. And قواعد المعاملات الدولية بين المسلمين والدول الأخرى. The relationship between the Islamic states and the non-Islamic states. The relationship between the Muslims and even the non-Muslims, the non-Muslim countries. especially those who are enemies. How to deal with them also is discussed in this Surah An-Nissa. And Allah Ta'ala tells us in the surah how to deal also with the munafiqun, those who pretend to be Muslims yet they are not, and they are in us, with us. So how to deal with them, how to recognize their plots is also dealt with in this surah, and how the signs of a munafiq. وَإِذَا قَامُوا إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ قَامُوا كُسَالَى يُرَاءُونَ النَّاسَ وَلَا يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مُذَبْذَبِينَ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ لَا إِلَهَ هَؤُلَاءِ وَلَا إِلَهَ هَؤُلَاءِ. So many signs of these types of people are also discussed by Allah Ta'ala in this surah. And Allah Ta'ala closes this surah with the dalalat of An-Nasara, the way the so-called Christians have gone astray when it comes to Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. The way they deal with Isa and the consideration they have, the fact that they make Isa a God, that is also discussed in this ayah, and the fact that they believe that Isa was crucified alayhi salatu wasalam. And there is a scholar who said, إذا صلب الإله بفعل عبد يهودي فما هو هذا الإله أو فما هذا الإله. If a God can be crucified by a slave that a slave Jew, what type of God is that? And Allah Ta'ala also speaks about the fact they believe in what we call Tathlis, Trinity, and things like that. And He invites and calls them to the right Aqidah, Al-Aqidah to As-Safiyyah, Aqidah to Tawheed Lillahi Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Allah says, وَلَا تَقُولُوا هَلَاثًا إِنَّهُ خَيْرًا لَكُمْ إِنَّمَا اللَّهُ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ سُبْحَانَهُ أَن يَكُونَ لَهُ وَلَدٌ. The reason why this surah is called Surah An-Nissa, because the matters of the women is discussed. The matter of the woman is discussed in this surah in a way that is not discussed in any other surah. That's why it is called Surah An-Nissa Al-Kubra, the big Surah An-Nissa. There's another surah that is called Surah An-Nissa As-Surah, the small Surah An-Nissa, that is Surah Talaq, the surah of divorce. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu idha talaqtumun nisaa fatalliquhunna li'iddatihinna. And the one last thing, why the Nasara believe that Isa is part of God, Allah Himself Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. One of the Christian monks came to the majlis of Harun al-Rashid, and he was debating with one of our Imams, Imam al-Waqidi rahmatullahi alayhi, and he said, in your book Allah tells us that Isa is part of God, so why are you denying it? And al-Waqidi said, where? He said, Allah said in Surah An-Nisa, wa ruhun minhu, is a ruh from Him Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, so why are you denying that? And the Shaykh was laughing and said, Allah says in the Quran, وَسَخَّرَ لَكُم مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا مِنْهُ. So you mean Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says that He is the one who made the taskhir of the heavens and the earth, and they are all from Him. So you mean the heavens and earth are part of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. وَمَنْ قَطَعَ النَّصْرَانِيُّ, he didn't have any more thing to say. He had to accept Islam because he didn't have it. That's the sincere debate. When you're looking for truth, whenever you find truth, you follow. But when you're just debating for the sake of debating, you will never end. Ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala أن يجعلنا ممن يرون الحق حقا ويرزقنا اتباعه ويجعلنا ممن يرون الباطل باطلا ونسأله تبارك وتعالى أن يرزقنا اجتنابه وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم. Inshallah, before we finish, every day I have to remind about our Ramadan fundraiser. Inshallah ta'ala, you have the